Whether you are a card maker or a journaler, or perhaps you're thinking about making some cards, this is going to be a great video for you. Hi everyone, it's Maddie Azar with Spectrum Art Creations. Today we're going to be working on the Simple Stories card pack. It is called Harvest Wishes and it is a lovely collection. It features 8 different cards and it includes everything that you need. There's not even fussy cutting required. All you need is glue and adhesive. It includes 29 chipboard pieces, 59 die cut bits and pieces, 8 card bases, and of course complete step-by-step instructions. Now I'm going to also be working through this with you so that we can do a craft along. So today is a craft along, which means that I will actually be crafting with you in real time. So we'll get to keep each other company and craft together. Now, as you could hear, yes, I am still suffering from allergies, unfortunately. So I do apologize for the frogginess in my voice. But it is what it is, right? And it's so new because I just never have had allergies. So, but we can work through this together and we'll get to sit back and enjoy some music. So here I am just showing you everything that is included, including your card bases. And of course, all the beautiful pieces that are with the kit. Now, if you are someone that purchased the kit from us, you already have all of your pieces punched out because that was part of the homework assignment that I had given you, is to separate your chipboard pieces into one pile, your mats, your backgrounds, so to speak, into another pile, and then to separate all the paper ephemera die cuts into another pile. This just makes it easier when it comes time for us to look for the pieces and put them together. So I will speed through the punching out process because most of you already have it. Of course, if you are not prepared, you could always pause the video at any time. You guys know that. And of course, as I am putting the cards together, you can also speed them up. So again, a craft along means exactly that I'm going to be crafting at regular speed so you guys can craft along every step with me. But you are in control of your speed, right? So you can always pause it, you can always fast forward it, you can always speed it up, you can always slow it down and work at the pace that works for you. And then of course you could always come back to the video at any time if you need to step away. So you're in total control, but as far as the punching out of these pieces, I'm just going to speed through it. There are certain areas in the video that I'm also going to be speeding through or skipping, things like distressing, because that is completely optional, right? So I'm not going to show you distressing every piece because I'm sure I would bore you to death, but and again, you don't have to whatsoever if you do not feel like distressing. The card kit is beautiful without it, so you don't have to do that step at all. I did, however, want to show you just how beautiful these elements are. All of their kits, their card kits, are absolutely full. I mean, the price point on these is amazing, honestly. You get so much for your dollar, and they're beautiful, simply beautiful. And if you struggle with layering, this is a really great way to get into layering and be able to work through the process and understand, how to move things left, right, have things peeking from behind. So another great deal with this kit right here. Now, every line that they release, so every so many months, they release a new line or a couple new lines, and it comes with a card kit. Whether, again, you're a card maker or not, everybody always needs cards to send, of course. Or whether you are a journaler, or if you enjoy making like ephemera clusters, or maybe like paper clips or embellishments or mini envelopes, tuck spots, pockets, you get so many pieces that you most certainly can use this for all of the above, everything that I've mentioned. And you will actually usually have extra pieces, so you can even do that as well, in addition to making your cards. Now, I am going to be doing it two ways for you guys today. I am going to be showing you the way that it's intended to be put together per the instructions. That way, if you want to do them exactly as the instructions say, you will have all of the pieces together, and all you have to simply do is adhere them. Then I'm going to show you a second way, which is going to be the way where you can actually change it up a little bit. So I've altered them, not all of them, some of them, which is, great too, because if you want to follow along that way, you most certainly can. And either way, we'll keep each other company. Now, also with the way that I'm going to do them, you'll save some extra pieces. So you'll actually get more pieces to make additional cards or ephemera or pockets or paper clips or bookmarks, whatever it is that you are working on. Maybe just add them to the pages in the journal that you're going to be using these, because then the pages will also have some of the ephemera pieces, right? So we're going to be doing a whole bunch of different stuff today, and I hope that you guys will follow along. And now that we have our beautiful pieces all separated, you notice that I put them into 3 containers, as I had mentioned to you. We have the paper ephemera, we've got the backgrounds or mats, and then we've also got the chipboard. However, I'm going to separate my ephemera, my paper ephemera, even further, because I am going to transfer the small pieces into a smaller bucket, and then my larger pieces into a larger bucket. It just makes it easier to find the little ones, like the bees and the hearts and those tiny pieces, rather than having to look through the whole bunch, right? Okay, so now we have our instructions, and as I mentioned, they are totally detailed. They tell you step by step what to grab, plus the picture, of course, and they tell you whether it's paper or chipboard or the size, the color, all that stuff. And here I have already put them together. So this is the part that takes the longest, honestly, because these come together super easily. So we're going to go through one by one, and I'm going to show you the pieces that you're going to need to pull apart for each card. So we're going to need the following pieces for card number 1. So this card would be the card titled Happy Fall, Y'all. And all we're doing is gathering our pieces. We're not putting anything together yet. All we're going to do is find the following pieces in our buckets, in our containers, or in our piles, if you made little piles, in order to have all the pieces that we need for each of the cards. Now again, I'm going to show you exactly how the instructions are set up first. So if you want it to look exactly like Simple Stories has designed them to look, these are the pieces that you're going to need, including these 4 pieces of chipboard. And as I mentioned, I'm not going to be fast forwarding or speeding up this process or this step in the process, because I want to give you enough time to go through your pieces and find the corresponding elements that you're going to need for each card. So that was card number 1. Now let's look at card number 2. This one would be titled Colors of Fall. This one requires 10 pieces total. These really nice paper ones. I love this T1. Isn't that gorgeous? Like, I want to use that on everything. And I want it in different sizes too. But you're going to need four of the paper elements, and then you're going to need 6 of the chipboard pieces. So again, that's why I like to separate them and tell you which ones are chipboard, because it just makes it easier for you to go to your chipboard pile. So you'll need this really super cool truck, the colors of fall, the green and orange leaves, and 3 of the chipboard hearts as well. Moving on to card number 3, and yes, I know my camera was having a fit. It didn't want to focus. Luckily, I have a ring on and that helped. But we're going to move on to card number 3, and that is Autumn Colors. Such a pretty card. Now, remember that we are to be adhering all of these pieces. However, when I go through my process on how I put them together, some of these I'm not going to be adhering at all. And we'll talk about that. Oh, look at those double tags. Aren't they gorgeous? I love those. Of course, the super pretty pre-collaged doily also is adorable. So all of these are paper elements thus far. And last but not least, our chipboard piece. Adorable autumn colors. It looks so real. Love it. So these are going to be the pieces for card number 3 that we'll need to just stack for right now. And then we'll move on to card number 4. Card number 4 is Harvest Wishes. It has this beautiful orange checkered background. This super cool triple band piece. This doubled layered banner. These lovely flowers. I love these flowers. They're so pretty. And then of course it's going to have the circle, and that's going to be the brown one. If you do not like those little connectors on the paper, you can always snip them off, but I don't. And these are the 2 chipboard pieces that will be in this card. And now that we are done gathering all the pieces for number 4, we're ready to move on to card number 5. Yes, I know, late at night, I think the lighting just likes to mess with my the focus on my camera. But we're going to move on to Fall Leaves Me Happy card. And it's going to need the following pieces. Again, there's that gorgeous tag. Isn't that pretty? Oh, so pretty. And this one has the green doily. Again, if those little connectors on the sides of anything bother you, you can always just take your scissors and snip them off. But again, as I mentioned, they don't really bother me. And then this one will require the following chipboard pieces. You're going to need that super cool pumpkin, the banner, and then the chipboard hearts, the orange and the green. And now we're moving on to card number 6, which is Autumn Days Are Here. And this is one of my favorites, seriously. I love this card. I think it's that cluster and plus, of course, this cocoa calendar thing. I just love it. Again, those pieces just speak to me. But look at this one. Oh, isn't that pretty? Autumn Days Are Here. So we're going to need the following paper ephemera pieces. And then this one has one large brown chipboard butterfly. That's the only chipboard piece. And I think, yeah, that this card I pretty much left as it was, except for one little tweak. But as far as the pieces, I don't think I added or removed anything. I just love that one. And we're ready for card number 7 that quickly. And of course, as we get further and further into the cards, it's easier to find our pieces because there isn't that much to pick from. But this one's going to require the following pieces, including the blue doily. It also has the shorter of the green labels. It has the yellow and green sprig and the pumpkin. What else was on here? Oh, that beautiful wooden hanging heart. Love that. There's that sprig I was telling you about. And then it's got two chipboard, it's got 3 chipboard pieces. It's got the hello and then 2 of the bees that are chipboard. So the only 3 chipboard pieces are right there. And that will conclude card number 7. And voila, we're ready for card number 8, our last card. This one is Falling For You. And this one was another one that was one of my favorites. Absolutely love this card. So super easy. Now, because we have very few pieces left, we're going to need the following paper pieces. And believe it or not, these last maybe around 17 minutes is the longest part of this card making process. Once we're done with this, the cards will just come together in a snap. So we're going to gather all of these beautiful pieces, including that teal label. It's more like it's like a light teal. And then we are going to have some chipboard pieces as well. We're going to have the brown butterfly piece. We're going to have the smaller butterfly brown, and then the Falling For You sentiment. So that will conclude card number 8. And now we get to the part where I'm going to distress. Now this is completely optional. It does not require distressing. It's just something that I wanted to do. So if you want to pause because you're watching the playback, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm not going to have you, of course, watch me distress every single piece in this kit, because as you can tell, there are tons of pieces and layers to each card. Now that we put them together, you can obviously see that. But if, on the other hand, you are doing the premiere and you are crafting along, again, you can omit this and you can always come back in with your watercolor pencil and your water brush, and also distress as needed once it's actually all placed together too. So you have options, but again, distressing is completely up to you. If you feel that it needs it, great. If you feel like, nope, I'm just going to skip that step and just go directly on to putting on my cards, then we will do that here next. Now, don't forget that we still have all of these amazing, beautiful pieces left. They just always include extras in their kits, which is amazing, right? Because we could always make some more cards. Now, some of these I'm going to be using because I'm going to be changing some of my cards around. So that's coming up next. So as of right now, the stacks that you have for each card is exactly what is in the instructions. Okay, so you can start putting those together that way if you prefer. But now you're going to see how I'm going to put together mine, and you can feel free to follow along with that as well. But either way, we will craft along together. So this is going to be card 1. Happy fall, y'all. We've already have all the pieces put together, but you'll notice that I have omitted one of the heart with the leaf clusters, and I'll be changing a couple of things here and there. For example, in this one, I am going to, or for most of them actually, I am going to be turning them also into either pockets or side tuck spots or something to that extent. And you notice that I do not mount them onto my actual white card bases until I am completely done. So that'll be my last step. And that's because I tend to sometimes smudge, like the distress ink or my glue, and I don't want to dirty my card bases. So I always leave that step for last. So the first thing I'll do is I will glue the pumpkin trio to the leaves, the foliage, and then I am going to glue my little banner, but I'm only going to glue it on 3 sides. So again, I am making this into a pocket. And next, I will glue that cluster onto my little belly band pocket at the bottom. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this is because some of these tags are so pretty that I didn't want them just hidden and lost, behind stuff. They're still functioning. We can, obviously layer them up with some cardstock. We can insert an eyelet. We can even put more stuff in the pocket if we want to. Now, for most of the ephemera that I'm going to do, you're going to notice that I'm going to be offsetting some of it off of the card, and I like to do that. I like for just a little bit, not too much, but a little bit of the like the leaves or the stems or a butterfly wing to kind of be a little bit off of the actual card itself. Now I am using some foam dots, some 3D foam dots. That's going to be the only thing outside of the kit that I'm going to be using. After I place my dots, I always use the back of my X-Acto knife to burnish down the dots themselves. Now, luckily, these are like super strong. They're really good foam dots. If you have cheap ones or ones that are not as strong as these, I would definitely recommend that you add some additional adhesive. There's nothing worse than giving something and then having it, or storing it and then having it fall apart. That's just awful. So make sure you use some good some good foam dots, or add additional adhesive. But as I was saying, the only additional thing I'm using is going to be the foam dots. Of course, there's so much more that you can do with these, right? You can add lace, you can add fabric, you can add dimensional dots, you can use your stickles, you can use, oh my goodness, anything, all of your elements, little metal charms, like we mentioned, eyelets to the tags, corners, all kinds of stuff. But I am trying to keep it very basic, so that if all you have is your kit and your bottle of glue, then that's all you're going to need to do this. So even the foam dots you don't need to have at all. You could still follow along with the steps exactly as I am doing them, just you won't have that dimension on them. And then we're going to glue down our little bees, and now the tag itself is in the pocket, so it's fully removable, and we can add more tags or more pieces or photographs if you want to, when we give away our card or when we insert it into a journal. On to card number 2, Colors of Fall. Another super pretty one, very easy to put together. For this one, we're going to need that super pretty brown background. This piece was part of the leftover ephemera, and I'm simply going to be gluing it at the top of the really cool T card advertisement piece, almost like a little tab at the top. Now, we are not going to be gluing our T advertisement piece to the actual card base itself, because once again, we want to be able to use that. We want to be able to journal on it if we want to, and add additional pieces. So we are going to be using the bottom as a pocket. So we'll be doing yet another little pocket on the front of this card as well. We will start by gluing our circle to the bottom of that gingham piece. And make sure you get it all the way to like the edge. You don't want anything snagging later on. If I wasn't using my 3D foam dots, this would be so easy because I would just glue the pieces as they are right now. But since I am going to be using them, I need to kind of, level it and eyeball it and then just glue down, each layer separately as opposed to just gluing them one on top of the other. So that's what I was kind of doing there, just eyeballing to see, hey, okay, where's the truck going to go and where do these leaves need to be, so that I can then use my truck and raise it up with my dots. And now it's time for some foam dots. Now, honestly, these are not the thickest ones, which is really good because if I want to put these inside of a journal, I want to have the option of it not intruding or obviously breaking the spine or causing any kind of issues. So I am using foam dots that are not super thick, just giving it a little bit of raise but not too much. And I do hope that this is working for you guys, me trying to craft along with you in real time, but doing it in a pre-recorded manner because obviously I was so afraid that my voice was going to give out for the craft along tonight. And because this originally, by the way, if you're watching the replay, this was supposed to be a live craft along, but given the fact that my voice is acting up my sinuses, I wasn't sure that I was going to have enough voice to make it through, especially because once I'm live, I start talking with you guys and, I start chit-chatting and we just, get busy talking. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I am never going to make it through. I'm going to start talking and then I'll never finish the cards. So I hope that this is working for you guys. Do let me know. Give me some feedback. Do you like this pace where we could still craft along and yet you could still come back and replay if need be? So, I would love to know your thoughts. So here all I've done is added glue to the 3 sides. And I'm keeping it about maybe half an inch, yeah, just about a half an inch from the bottom. But again, you work any which way you like. If you want it higher or lower, that's totally up to you. But it's only glued on the 3 sides, making it into a pocket. And of course, now our beautiful truck full of pumpkins is ready to go. Now, because I'm going to be having this on my right hand side and I am lining it up with the bottom of the card so the wheels are not floating, and also my back end of the truck I've lined up also to my right, I am going to be balancing off by bringing that tab on the card itself, on the T card on the left hand side, and also bringing in the hearts to the left hand side as well. Because once I looked at it, I was like, oh, you know, if my truck was more centered like theirs was in the photo, in the original project, then that would make a little bit more sense. But since mine is heavy on the right side, I'm going to balance it on the left. So now we have a nice, generous, large pocket on this one as well. So we can add a whole lot more. We can add some photos. We can add some recipe cards, maybe for our loved ones, or maybe even a gift card, right? If we're sending it to, you know, someone that we love. Now let's move on to card number 3. Number 3 is autumn colors. And for this one, I'm trying to remember. I think the only thing that I did that was a little bit different was I didn't glue down those 2 beautiful tags. No way, just like the T card, was I going to glue that down, because I wanted to keep it so that I could enjoy it. I could always, you know, pull it back out. I can do more stuff to it as well, right? If I want to, such as adding eyelets and maybe some seam binding, something to that extent. So once again, we're going to follow pretty much the same process. We're going to make a pocket on the bottom. The only difference is with this one, I am looking to have that little piece that sticks out on the bottom of the doily to touch the bottom, to line up with the bottom of my mat. So first I'm going to glue my little pocket bottom. Again, by adding glue to the 3 sides, I'm turning it into a pocket. You don't have to. You can glue this all the way down if you like. Then the other little thing that I did different is I did not want to center my doily, again, because mine is going to be a pocket. I wanted to off-center it to the left. And even furthermore, as I mentioned to you guys before, I do like to have a little bit kind of stick out of the card. So just a smidge, you'll see that I'm off the card on the left-hand side with my doily. And I'm adding glue to the bottom half of the doily, being really careful not to, you know, go too high, because then I would actually glue my pocket down. So you'll see that I'm kind of checking, and I can see where I didn't go up high enough, which is perfect because I don't want to go too high and then over glue. And then I will use my ruler just to make sure that I didn't glue it down, right? And I like to sometimes leave my ruler in there just to create that air pocket to allow that adhesive to dry. Now I'm using art glitter glue, which dries like instantly pretty much, right? You have like second or 2 of playtime. So, but I do keep that ruler in there just to give it some air, make sure that it's dry. I'm not going to glue anything down. And again, because I off-centered my doily to the left, I am now going to balance it out by bringing my placard that says autumn colors and the leaves more to the right. So I will start by gluing my leaves down because that's going to be a flat element. And then I'm going to bring in my foam dots and raise the little placard up, and that will complete this card. And now once again, instead of gluing those beautiful double tags into the or onto the card itself, onto the paper, we now have where we can actually, you know, pull them up and out if we need to, and we can also add additional elements to it as well. And here you kind of see me going back and forth and back and forth. Yeah, the struggle is real. The reason why is because I wanted to make sure that I could see that orange band as well as the green polka dot. So I just kind of kept playing with the look until I could see both, even if it's just a smidge on the right hand side. And now we are going to move on to card number 4. And card number 4 is going to be Harvest Wishes. Now, Harvest Wishes is also such a pretty one. Look at those yellow flowers. Oh my goodness, they're so pretty. And that brown, the brown piece, the circle, also super pretty. And that wooden grayish piece on the bottom, it's got like this crackle. It's like cracked wood, almost like aged wood. So pretty. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to, first of all, play with our placement, make sure that we like how everything looks. This one, I think I kept identical with one exception. My gray/yellow little banner is more towards the bottom. I moved it down again because I'm aiming to make it some sort of a pocket. And then that was it. So yeah, so I left it open so that it's actually like a corner tuck pocket. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to glue down that piece that's got the leaves, the textbook leaf piece. So pretty. And again, we want to make sure we can see plenty of that up at the top. So I'm gluing that down on 3 sides to create a side pocket. And then we're going to do the exact same thing with the bottom banner. We are going to glue it down on 3 sides only as well. And that's going to give us the bottom pocket. So basically we're going to have a pocket that we can slide stuff in from like a catty corner angle. Now here's a very important part. Now here we need to really pay attention because we're going to be gluing that circle onto both pieces, but that circle has got to remain both open so we could slide stuff, right? We don't want to glue it down to our paper and then have the pocket voided. But we also need to make sure that it is well adhered on the corners so when we're sliding stuff in, nothing snags. I hope that makes sense. So all I'm doing is making sure that, see right here, that I am reaching all the way up to the edge so that nothing will actually slide in between those 2 pieces and end up getting snagged. But at the same time, I gotta be careful because if I get too close to the edge and I ooze out some glue, it'll get glued onto my actual card base. And see, now I'm doing the bottom as well, making sure I come all the way up to that line. And so make sure that you use your ruler or a piece of cardstock or something to make sure it's clear, nothing has oozed out, nothing has become adhered. You want to do that right away before it does become permanent. And then of course, last but not least, we're going to bring in our beautiful yellow flowers, our butterfly, and then we are going to use our foam dots, if you've got them, if you're using them, to prop up the Harvest Wishes chipboard piece. And I do apologize, guys. I'm trying so hard not to sniffle. I hope it is not like horribly annoying and that some of you are not like, oh God, I can't even listen to this lady sniffle anymore. I'm trying to control it, but I didn't want to let you down. I promised you that I would do a craft along tonight and I didn't want to leave you hanging, right? Nothing worse than when you have plans with someone and then they just cancel on you at the last minute and they leave you hanging. And I didn't want to be that person. So I hope you will forgive me. I hope it's not too horrid. And that you guys can still hang out with me and or rewatch the video. So for those of you coming along later too, wondering why on earth did this lady even make this video, knowing that she was all congested and having allergy issues, I hope that makes better sense and that you guys understand that I just didn't want to let folks down. And now all we need to do is glue down our last piece. Of course, you guys know we glued down the yellow flowers. We glued down the chipboard butterfly. And now we're gluing down, or we're propping up our harvest wishes if you're using your dots. And then we're going to be gluing that. And when I flip it like that, by the way, guys, I'm always checking that I cannot see my foam dots from the front. Because it happens. I've done it. Actually, you'll see I'll do it in a later card. And that's horrid. You know, it's horrible having to lift that stuff up and, yeah, mess your chipboard up and, yeah, all kinds of stuff. So always double check. Make sure that you cannot see your 3D foam dots from the front. And these red and black scissors are my Tim Holtz non-stick scissors. They are pretty good. They do work, not on everything. I've had some, then again, it's probably my fault because I did get some like cheap 3D foam, and I think it was from the dollar store or Walmart. Oh my gosh, that stuff was a nightmare to work with. So I don't know if I just got a bad batch that was like, had been in the sun or something. It was all sticky and melted. It was horrible, horrible. But they're really good for working with sticky stuff like this because it prevents it from sticking and gunking up your scissors. You know, they still, of course, nothing is 100% proof or, you know. So they do get a little bit of stickiness every now and then, and all I do is use some Germix or alcohol and a paper towel and then just wipe them clean and they're good to go again. So if you're wondering why those scissors have, you know, tape on them, anything that is a specialized scissor that I'm letting my family know, don't you even think about it. Don't you even dare look at those scissors, like my fabric scissors or these scissors or my fussy cutting scissors. You know, there's like a million scissors in this house. They could use any of those, but they know anything with tape, don't even look at it. That's my way of marking it so they know hands off my scissors. But that's what those red and black scissors are. And there we have card number 4. So pretty. We're gonna move on. Oh, I wanted to show you the side pocket. I'm sorry. So wanted to show you how that little, you know, diagonal side pocket that I was telling you about. See, we can still stick some stuff in. Oh, hang on. I think I had something glued down. Just making sure it's clear. There we go. So now we are able to still stick something into that, and it's like a totally hidden little gem, isn't it? Now let's move on to our 5th card. We're more than halfway there. Well, we're halfway there now. This one is Fall Leaves Me Happy. Super pretty as well. It's got the green doily and that really cool looking pumpkin. Now for this card, I pretty much left it as it was with one exception. I believe it was the tag. Yes. So instead of tucking the tag in and hiding it behind it and just losing the tag, I decided to omit the tag altogether from this card. I mean, we can still stick it in the pocket, as you will see later, but we can also go ahead and remove it completely and use something else in that pocket. So we are going to do our layout first, which is very similar to what you see on the instructions. Again, with the exception of omitting the tag and not gluing it down behind the pumpkin and the leaves. Then the other little subtle change that I did was, instead of centering my doily, I've moved it over to the bottom left. So you'll notice in the instructions theirs are like maybe, I don't know, their doilies maybe like a half an inch, a quarter of an inch up from the bottom, and then it's centered. Well, mine's gonna be all the way down at the bottom and off to my left. But the first thing we're going to do is going to be to glue down our leaves onto our chipboard pumpkin with the butterfly. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I'm so in the mood for like anything pumpkin right now. Like pumpkin lattes. Oh yeah, pumpkin cookies, pumpkin muffins. I think it's all this crafting, all this fall crafting. I've got pumpkin in the head. Actually, I was laughing because every year, one of the things that we do as a tradition in our family is we play Thanksgiving trivia, right, Madison? At Thanksgiving, she's not here. At Thanksgiving, you can say yes. At Thanksgiving dinner, she's been sitting here next to me the whole time. The poor thing, and she's been so good and so quiet because she knows that I only have so much voice left, and yeah, I can't be talking over people. So she's being awesome. Thank you, Princess. But
You're welcome.
we play Thanksgiving trivia, and it's super funny because we'll do teams and we'll see who gets the most points, and so every year I try to bring out new questions. But even funnier is the fact that sometimes I ask the same questions, and I kid you not, I've been using some of the same questions like year after year, and they still get them wrong. So I always find that to be an absolute hoot. Okay, so now where were we? We've glued the pumpkin and the leaves onto our doily. And now we're going to glue our doily. Once again, we're going to make that doily into a corner tuck. So we're only going to glue it on like, a little bit under half of the, less than half, like maybe a little bit more than a third. It just turned it into a nice corner pocket here on the coming in from the right hand side. And then we are going to use our foam dots and add our fall leaves me happy banner, and then the two little chipboard hearts at the top. See how that tag can now go in there, but it's kind of lost because it's a pretty big pocket, and that's why I decided to omit it altogether and save it for something else that's coming up. So stay tuned because I got something that I'm gonna be doing next. So but I'm gonna wait till the end to tell you what it is. So I'm gonna add the banner, I'm gonna add the hearts, I'm gonna leave off the little tag. But yeah, so I'm sitting here laughing, thinking how year after year I've asked the same questions and they still get them wrong. And you think they would have figured out by now that I'm asking some of the same questions, but they don't. It's amazing. Like one of them, for example, is how long was the first Thanksgiving? And every year, people still get it wrong. So do you guys know in chat? I'd be curious to know. Let's do some Thanksgiving facts or some fall facts. So hopefully you guys will answer in the chat, or if you're crafting along, you'll answer out loud in your head. So your family doesn't think you're crazy because you're screaming out numbers. But I'll give you the answer in a few seconds. Okay, you guys want to know? It was 3 days. That is one big party, isn't it? 3 days of eating. I mean, we could barely do 3 hours. We spend all day cooking. I'm sure you guys can relate. Well, forget all day. we prep for like 2 or 3 days, right? Then we spend like all day cooking, and then we spend like a good, hour or two eating, and then we're done. That's it. I mean, we're like ready for a nap, right? How do these people eat and party for 3 days straight? I have no clue. And we are done with card number 5. And now it's time to move on to card number 6. And as I mentioned during the prepping, it's one of my favorites. It is called Autumn Days Are Here. So we're going to do that one next. Now, this one I kind of left the same way as they had it. I made very little changes. I only made one change to it, and that is that I did not glue down the cocoa calendar down. I didn't sandwich it in between the layers. So instead, I created like a little tuck spot where that is actually now a piece that can be tucked in and out, along with some other pieces if desired, such as some photos and all that good stuff. But the first thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be gluing the large brown label. Now in the instructions, they say to glue it about a ½ inch from the bottom of the card. And I pretty much did that, maybe a little bit less, but again, we're pretty much following the instructions on this one. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the large brown label and glue it about a ½ inch from the bottom of the card. However, I am not fully adhering it. You notice I'm only gluing down 3 sides because I'm going to make this as part of a pocket so that I could tuck in that cocoa calendar card along with anything else that I want to tuck in here, later on. So that's going to be step number 1, is to glue down that brown label. It's step 2 for this one. All I'm going to do is bring in that gorgeous cluster. I mean, this one didn't need anything, guys. It was just perfect. So all I'm going to do is offset it a little bit, as I've been mentioning, and you've seen me do it with doilies and flowers. I'm going to kind of glue it a little bit off the page on the right hand side, just so that it gives it a little something, right? A little something more. But you'll notice that I'm only adding adhesive to the bottom and to the right hand side. I am not adhering anything on the left hand side except for the bottom, so that I could actually have a tuck spot behind those leaves. And now we have our super cute little tuck pocket there. And then last but not least, we are going to bring in that gorgeous chipboard butterfly, and we are going to adhere it down anywhere on those leaves. Again, I am using my foam dots to just give it a little bit of dimension, but that's totally optional. And while we're waiting for that, I'll give you another question. So, how do trees get their orange color from? Do you guys know? Go ahead and answer in chat or say it out loud. Forget what your family thinks, or the cat or the dog. Don't use any lifelines, no cheating. How do trees get their orange color? Where do they get it from? All right, well, here we go. I'll give you the answer. Ready? Trees get their orange color from carotene. Carotene. That is your answer. Did anyone get it right? No one in my family remembers that every year. And it's funny because they'll say, oh, wait, I know this one. I know this one. Nope. They still don't. So that's another good one that you could ask your coworkers or friends or family. Okay, and now let's move on to our card. So of course, once again, I'm just removing the backings and I'll be able to glue that on, and we're going to move on to card number 7. Golly, guys, we are almost done. Can you believe it? I hope you guys have had fun crafting along and making these super pretty cards. Once again, these cards come out every with every paper line. So they have them for Halloween, they have them for Christmas, we have them for fall, spring, yeah, Valentine's Day, every paper line, and I just love them. Honestly, I think that once you start making them and you see them in person, you really get it. Like it clicks. And you realize just how much good stuff is in these packs as well, because we're going to be doing something else afterwards. So I will share that with you. But let's move on to card number 7, which is the Hello card. For this one, we're going to need the solid green background panel, right? With the printed little stripe on the center, and then we're going to use the blue doily. However, we are going to change that up just a little bit. We're also going to need the short green label, right? And we are going to need that. I almost want to say it's a castanet, but it's a heart ornament, the wooden heart ornament, and the pumpkin, and of course the chipboard hello sentiment, and 2 of the chipboard bees as well, and the green and yellow leaf, yeah, the leaf little sprig. So again, that one we're using the exact same elements that were shown in the instructions. The only difference is because I want to create this into a tuck spot on the bottom left hand side, I decided to actually cut that doily just a little piece, which is also kind of neat because I get to save it and I get to use it later on. So I will show you that as well. So that's what I'm doing here. I am not centering mine. I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to take it over to my left hand side. And then I'm going to save that extra little piece of doily for a card later on. Now we're going to take that doily and we're going to glue it on only 2 sides because, and that's going to be of course the left hand side and the bottom, because we're going to be turning that into a corner tuck. With that done, we're going to continue our layering. So here I'm just playing with the placement, trying to figure out if I want the pumpkin in the front, the pumpkin in the back, the wooden ornament with the heart front or back. But I kind of really like the layout that they had going. Once again, my exception is I'm going to be bringing out the little leaf sprig a little bit outside of the card just to give that card more interest and dimension. First, I'm going to glue together the wooden element, the wooden heart ornament, and the little sprig, just so I know that my placement looks pretty and that my leaves are going to be showing sufficiently. I don't want too little of those leaves to show, but I also don't want to show the little stem piece. So it was still kind of showing from the bottom a little bit, so I'm just going to snip that off because you can't see it anyway. Next, I'm going to grab that cluster with the heart ornament and the leaves, and I'm going to glue that on to the very left hand side edge of the label, because remember, it is a short label, so we want as much of it as possible as showing. And then we're going to bring in that pumpkin behind that green label. Now, theirs is showing a little bit more, like they glued theirs up higher in the instructions. I wanted mine a little bit more tucked in, but you can decide, what looks best for you. What do you think? And of course, you could also change pieces around if you so desire. But I think that it looks absolutely so cute right there. So now that I am happy with that, I am going to glue that all down, knowing that the only thing I need to worry about is going to be my doily, correct? Now, the other thing you'll notice is that my green label is not up high like theirs is. Theirs is probably like a half an inch from the bottom. Mine is like all the way down, pretty much to the bottom edge of my paper. So I've moved it all the way down, and now I'm just making sure once again that I haven't adhered my little tuck, corner tuck piece, so we could still tuck all kinds of stuff in there. And finally, I'm gonna bring in my chipboard pieces. We're gonna bring in the hello, and then we're gonna bring in the two little cute little butterflies, not butterflies, bees. Oh my Lord. Oh Lord. Ah, I am so glad you guys have hung in there with me. We are almost done. And I am seeing butterflies instead of bees, I'm telling you. But actually, well, we do have both in this kit. We have bees and butterflies. So let me ask you another question while we're actually waiting for me to glue down these pieces. You guys ready? Okay, let me see. Now, here's a question, and I always found this very interesting. And I know that they kept a log, so I'm going to believe that this question to be true, but you guys tell me, how many women do you think were at the very first Thanksgiving celebration? So, how many women were at the first Thanksgiving celebration? See, I don't remember learning this, in grade school, elementary school, when we were learning about the first Thanksgiving, yada yada. I don't remember them telling me this fact, but maybe you guys know. So feel free to share with me in the comments, share with me on the live chat, say it out loud, and again, ask your family. But while you guys are typing, I will give you the answer. You guys ready? Okay. The answer is, Madison, do you know?
Chinese New Year.
Please don't make me laugh. That is not a good thing. The answer is 5. I love Madison. The answer is 5. 5 women. There were 5 women there at the first Thanksgiving celebration. Well, I'm going to assume that these were Pilgrim women. I don't know about Native American. And if that's the case, who did all the cooking? Are you trying to tell me that 5 women cooked for all those men?
I don't know.
Oh, bless their soul, right? That's a lot of guys to feed. So, and the bees, I am not going to be using any foam dots. I'm just going to be gluing them flat because, again, remember, this is a side tuck pocket, and I want things to be able to slide in and out without any obstructions. And then the other thing is I'm going to kind of stagger them, and I'm going to, again, have those wings, like I mentioned to you guys, just a little bit sticking out of the card, just to give it some interest. And we are now done with our hello card. So pretty. Now we're going to move on to our final card. Can you believe it? That's it. Number 8. We are done. This is going to be Falling For You card, and that is number 8. My I would say, well, so hard to pick one. You guys pick one. I don't know. I think this is my second most favorite one, but that's a tough one because they're all so pretty. So I would love to hear in the comments from you guys, which is your favorite? Which one do you like the most? If you had to pick one, which one would it be? But let's go on to Falling for You card. We are going to be changing it up a little bit. Not a whole lot. No, somewhat, yeah. Honestly, this is probably one of the ones that I might have changed the most. And the reason for that being that I did not want to cover that gorgeous large ticket right there that you guys see me tucking into the pocket. It is beautiful. I don't know if I brought it up to the camera for you guys to see. Maybe earlier I did. It is so pretty that there was no way I was going to cover that up. And then I also thought that putting those flowers in front of it, the way the instructions called for it, just kind of covered the whole ticket anyway. So I was like, no way. So I did change this one up a little bit. The first thing I did was the same thing. I used the large label, and I did a just a 3 sides. So I made it into a pocket, which is going to hold our jumbo pumpkin ticket that we see there on the table. That was the first thing I did that I changed up a little bit. Oh, there was one more thing. I also omitted the background. If you notice there in the instructions, there is a plaid piece that is covering the butterflies. And I was like, oh no, we need those butterflies. So I omitted that as well. So that's another piece that we're going to save for later. More to come on that. Then I glued the chipboard butterfly on the right hand side instead of gluing it up top. And I now have a pocket there for my jumbo pumpkin ticket. And now I'm just going to prop up the Falling in Love with some foam dots. Now, this is where I made that boo-boo, where I was telling you guys that you have to be careful to kind of keep in mind when you're putting your 3D dots where they're going to, how it's going to affect your card, right? Whether it's going to be hanging off the edge, or you're going to be able to see them from the front, or if they're going to actually be outside of your pocket, which is what happened to me. So I glued a piece on the at the very top of the F, and that F, the top of the F, is actually going to be outside of my like over my pocket, and so that would actually stop the pocket, anything from sliding in the pocket. So I ended up having to remove it, and you'll see that piece right there. Don't do that, okay? Just make sure you guys move yours down. You don't want to put it all the way up to the tippy top of the F. So at least now that we're watching the replay, you guys can avoid making the same mistakes that I made, and you'll be able to have yours function properly from go if you're using your 3D foam dots, okay? So that's all that I am doing here. Very simple. I kept this one very, very simple because that jumbo ticket was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I didn't want to cover it with anything. And there's still a little room there on that label on the bottom that if we wanted to add maybe a button or maybe a, a to, like if we're sending this to someone, or a sentiment, we can. So there's room here on the white label. But I also like that white space because, again, one of the things that I was thinking is we can always come back later, add little bits here and there. As I mentioned, maybe some corners. I'm thinking maybe some splatters, some white splatters. I didn't want to do a whole lot. I wanted to keep it up to the point where if you only have your kit and your glue, you could still put this together in the same manner as I did. So I didn't want to break out any stencils. I didn't want to break out any additional stamps, nothing like that. I wanted to keep it pretty true to the kit itself, but just know that you have plenty of options. Okay, so we were talking about pumpkin spice earlier, right? So my question for you guys is, who knows what pumpkin spice actually contains? It's actually several different spices mixed together. Do you guys know? Again, don't Google it. I want to know if you guys know, and I'll give you time enough to either answer in the comments down below. Oh, I wanted to show you. See, this is where I realized I had made a boo-boo. So I'm gluing down, excuse me, my falling for you. And then I was like, oh no, wait, that got glued onto my large ticket. So now I had to try and go back and remove it. Now, if I was using cheapo foam dots, this wouldn't have been a big deal. But as I mentioned, these are really good, strong uh, foam dots, and oh man, yeah, they get glued on and it's no joke. So I had to wrestle with my chipboard piece, which of course I ended up creasing it a little bit. Nothing tragic, but you know, still I was kind of bummed because I ended up baking a boo-boo, which we all make. So I'm glad I kind of left that in there so you guys can see that it could happen, and hopefully I will help you avoid making that same mistake. Okay, so that now slides in and out, no worries. Here comes the answer to the question. The answer is cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and dry ginger. Yep, 4 different spices. Okay, now don't forget we still have all of these super cool pieces left over. And now we even have more because we didn't use everything that was to be used, at least I didn't, that was to be used per the instructions. So stay tuned for part 2. Part 2. Ready? Part dos is coming up. Part ni. How many languages can I say 2 in? I don't know. I think I have one more somewhere in there. But yes, there's going to be a part 2 because I have so much stuff left to work with. So I've already started, but I'm not going to be including it in this one. I'm going to be doing a part 2. So save all your bits and pieces that are left over because we are going to make even more. I think we will probably get at least, I'm not kidding, maybe 4, 5 more cards out of this. And if I have extra bits, I might even do some other stuff, as I mentioned, like paper clips or bookmarks or something, pockets, clusters. So save them, save them, save them, keep them on the side, and wait for part 2, and we will do that as well together, okay? But all that I'm doing here now is folding my bases, the card bases, the white cardstock ones. They come pre-creased, so all you have to do is, use your bone folder to give it a nice burnishing, and then, like I mentioned, glue down your ready-made panels. Now, they don't have to be cards, guys, because again, we've made panels. These can go anywhere. Man, you could even use these to create a journal in itself, right? Or like little mini covers for mini journals. That would be so stinking adorable. But I'm gonna glue them down to my bases because I can still make a journal out of it if I want to, or if I want to, I can also use them as tip-ins or flip-outs or all kinds of stuff inside of journals as well, or just mail them out. You know, who doesn't need a hope you're feeling better, thinking of you, happy birthday, that kind of thing, card, especially during the holidays, which is perfect because this is a fall card and they're just lovely. So, and if you're sending it to a crafter, they can even reuse it, right? For whatever projects they're using, they can recycle them. Now, other options. You can do some top tucks. You could do some side tucks. So if you just grab your ruler, find your center on any of these cards, and then you create a notch. You notch it with your circle punch. Then you can also insert all kinds of other stuff behind or between the card front and the card base. So I'll do a top one and I'll do a side one for you guys just to show you. But I mean, the sky's the limit. These are just gorgeous dimensional collaged, you know, pieces of artwork, right? Just the sky is the limit. You could do a billion things with these. So I'm just going to walk you through two of those. And in the meantime, while I'm doing that, I will ask you, I think, one last question. What do you guys think? You ready for one more? All right, let's see. Okay,
Maybe I can
maybe.
answer it if you want.
Huh?
I can help you with the answer if you don't know.
Let's see. Let's see. I'm looking through my cards to see. I went and pulled them out for you guys. Hang on. Oh, no, that one's not a good one. Let's see.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Um,
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Okay, here we go. And oh, this one is like very special to us. Okay, so which insect migrates from the U.S. to Mexico in the fall every year? Okay, and while we're doing that, see, I just notched it at the top, right? I distressed it, redistressed it, and also the card base just to make sure that it was not stark white. Excuse me. And then I glued it on three sides. So now I have a super large pocket also on that card. Okay, how many of you out there guessed the monarch butterfly? Now, here in the Panhandle in North Florida, which is where we live, we actually have a festival which is called the Monarch Festival. If you ever get a chance to make it up here for that, you definitely should. It's awesome. So it's done by the water, of course. And there are like, I don't even know how many,
30?
oh gosh, vendors. Tons and tons of vendors come. Food and crafts and,
Bouncy houses?
oh yeah, games and all kinds of stuff. And
Bounce.
actually, that was the first time that Madison and I ate something.
What was it
Can you
called?
guys guess what it was?
It was good.
It's very Floridian.
It was.
Okay, I was kind of freaked out to try it, but I finally decided, let's do it. Let's do it. Guess what it was? It was gator meat. Yep. Have you ever had gator meat? Well, I shouldn't say that. I've had it twice. The first time I had it, I hated it. It was like chewing a rubber band. And people kept telling me, no, it was not done right. And when it's done right, it's really good. And so I waited like 20 plus years to try it again. And Madison and I were at the Monarch Festival, and I thought,
That's interesting.
you know what? There's a huge line. Everyone is eating the stuff. Maybe they were right. I ate the wrong one, so
Yeah.
let's try it again. It was good, guys. So I didn't know they actually farm alligators for alligator meat. Is that crazy? I know. It's a Florida thing. What can I tell you? But if you ever get a chance to try it, try it. It tastes like fried chicken. I know, everything tastes like chicken, right?
Fried chicken, yeah.
Okay, so here we're doing a side tuck one. So the same thing, all I did was find my center and then I notched it, right, with my circle punch, and then I'm going to glue it on three sides, and it's going to give me that really nice huge pocket where I can insert all kinds of stuff in, right? Letters and whatever. So now you know that you can also create, additional pockets by mounting your cards to your bases, and yeah, creating all kinds of other fun little elements there too. So yes, the monarch butterflies, gorgeous, gorgeous. They migrate and they fly past this area, and oh gosh, they're like by the hundreds. Although the last couple of years, we've seen less and less of them. So I hope it's not some kind of a migratory, you know, issue, or they're not in decline. I hope. So All right, so hopefully some of you got that one right, and if you didn't, now you know. And also, I can't wait to read your comments on the gator meat because I'm sure some of you are going to be all freaked out. I know I am usually not one to try, like I wouldn't eat like snake or something like that,
Yeah.
but you know, I just had to try gator meat because people swore by it, and it is pretty good. So now you know, if you ever get a chance, do try it. Be adventurous. All right, that is our next base, and so now we've got. I'm not going to obviously show you how I glued all of these down. We're simply going to adhere them to our bases. And then all I'm going to do is obviously redistress my edges on all of these cards. I hope you guys have enjoyed crafting with us. I hope that you have made some beautiful cards along the way. And if you didn't get this kit, it's sold out, unfortunately. But if you didn't get this one, now you know that, we bring these in pretty much every couple of months. New ones come in and they are just wonderful to work with. Like I mentioned, lots of bang for your buck, and you definitely get to make some super super pretties. So thank you so much. Hope you endured, and I do apologize. Again, I know I feel so bad that I am so nasal and the sniffling and the coughing, but you guys are troopers and have been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today in the art studio, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up and to leave a comment down below. You guys have a blessed one. Bye.